reasons for the evil I have unleashed, but I've devised a method to halt its spread. If you're hearing this, follow my instructions. The first thing you will require is a map to the lost pages of the Necronomicon and Kandarian Dagger.
Get the map.
The pieces of this map are hidden nearby. Find them.
How's it going, team? This is the Brown Man, and I am up at like 4 something in the morning
This looks painful.
to record a
Now hold
bunch
the
of
first
videos for
piece
y'all.
of my map. A small but strong step forward.
Because I'm not actually going to be home. So I need to record content for a couple of days just to upload ahead of time. And this is going to be one of our chill, calm discussions. One thing is there will be a tier list dropping. It should drop by the time this video comes out. It's time to drop at 12 o'clock? 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock? Gotta check.
That kind of takes the edge off.
I'll take that. Typically with these uploads, I have them recorded, and then I have them timed to sprinkle out throughout the day.
I shouldn't have too many
Early.
more of those.
I am an early bird. The early bird gets the worm. Or whatever the worm gets. Or the bird gets. So, when it comes to Evil Dead, the game, there's a lot of unintended... I wouldn't say unintended, but there's a lot of benefits that are overlooked, right? So for example, in the tier list, I go over Scotty, and there are some benefits to Scotty. Some people don't really like this guy, some people didn't like him in the beginning, and I think this game is really up to your perception. Like, a lot of people said Scotty is garbage, or a lot of people said Andy isn't all that good, or you know, Henry is just okay. There's a lot of these things. Same thing for Ed. People are like, oh, Ed is just this, and he's not all. He doesn't do all. And I'm like, So, I think because a lot of people don't, not in terms of don't understand, but don't think about the technical nuance of how powers and certain things work. Like a lot of people, you know, they probably didn't have the time in, and sometimes it's hard to build foresight without time. But they're like, oh, wait a minute, if Ed pops traps, then people's fear goes down, right? It stays down because the traps are not being popped. They get to keep some more of the items because the little ashes don't go off. And the demon doesn't get EXP. And all those were benefits of Ed, not including items dropping during combat, so less of a need for loot. Not including higher rarity items and chests, which leads to more pink F, so people level up a bit faster. So the demon levels up slower, you guys level up faster, typically in a match with an Ed. So these are things that people didn't think about. And I believe that there are many things with other characters that people don't think about, whether it be Pablo, whether it be Ash, whether it be Scotty. There's certain things that doesn't always pop up on the scoreboard. It doesn't pop up on the scoreboard how useful my boy Ed is, but it pops up later, or it pops up indirectly on the scoreboard. So it creates many of these funny situations where we talk about someone like Scotty. Scotty is some people can build him tank. Most people that I know, they probably just build him damage and then they start swinging, which is fine. But once again, there's certain benefits. So for example, in Pokemon, right, there is, where is it? There it is. In Pokemon, there's you can change stats, right? So a Pokemon's attack can go up, or Pokemon's defense can go up. or the enemies, or you or the enemy's attack can go down. You or your enemy's defense can go down. And there's effective benefits. So effective benefits are basically when two benefits, when the practical outcome of two benefits are similar. So, for example, if a Pokemon's attack goes up, that has the same effect as the opponent's defense going down. Right? If I'm doing half more damage, then the opponent effectively has half less defense. If my defense goes up and I take half less damage, then that effectively means that I have half more defense. Right? Those are the effective terms. If I'm technically slower, then that means, or if my opponent is the speed is reduced, then that effectively has the same impact as my speed being increased. And that's some similar stuff happening in Evil Dead. Effectively, for example, if Scotty is doing a lot of dismemberment, then Scotty is effectively raising the defense of the team. Even though he's not built tanky or not, he mitigates damage to himself and the team through a lot of the dismemberment. However, some of that actually has been removed because Ash has Weapon Master Chainsaw, and the dismemberment on the chainsaw actually went up. So Scotty's niche is not unique to Scotty, which puts him in kind of the tier that he's in. Just because an Army of Darkness Ash can do what he does and blow up all the goddamn time with no cooldown, even while attacking, he can blow up. So, because Scotty's active, he has to do a whole animation. Army of Darkness Ash says, "Yo, I can blow up while you're attacking me. I can blow up. It doesn't matter. They can stack on stack on stack. And they can blow up a whole bunch of times, and it creates an interesting interesting argument for should active abilities be buffed or made in a certain kind of way. That makes them more unique. Because as they are now, they are not as unique, some of them, as I would like. And that's what it is. So it's like, if they effectively do the same thing for Army of Darkness Ash, right? If he gets a shield popped every X amount of time, and he does 120 damage without cooldown, and Scotty does 150 damage with a 30-second cooldown, then Armor of Darkness Ash can have more shield pops go off, which means his explosions will actually end up out damaging Scotty's. And once again, he doesn't have to lose momentum because he doesn't have to do an animation for the explosion. So it creates a really weird scenario where it's like, how do we handle that? Because once again, effectively, he has Scotty's active as a passive. So it creates a lot of weird scenarios, and that's something that I want to bring up. Gone. Something I want to bring up in this video, this casual conversation, is what benefits equal what, or what benefits are not the same on paper, but have the same benefit. As I said before, right? If a Pokemon's attack goes up, then that means effectively the rest of the team, anybody who gets hit, their defense is down. It has the exact same effect. So how do we handle that in this game? And then we have Mia coming up. How's that ability going to go? How is she going to be super unique? Is she going to have basically the same powers as another character? Is she going to be effectively the same? How would that go? And we don't know until she gets here. We do not know. But That's one way of thinking about stuff. The other thing is also all about perception. So, for example, a lot of people don't run someone like
You have the right to remain
people don't run stuff like, for example, Evil Dead 1 Ash, and I understand he's a weird character. He is. Evil Dead 1 Ash for sure is an interesting character.
I shouldn't have too many.
When I played Evil Dead 1 Ash, I wasn't really getting a lot of headshots. I'm not gonna front. And especially when I played Hunter, because I said, wow,
Sure, I don't
why do I
wanna
need
lose in-
headshots? And I was wrong. I brought that up earlier, and then I know it did more damage, but I was like, you know what, why? And they nerfed guns, and headshots kind of came up. So one of the things I'm also doing, and I've kind of been doing, but I know, is that I understood that someone said headshots are important. I understand they're important. But at that moment, I didn't, and I knew guns were kind of going to get nerfed, but I didn't act on that, right? And I think when we talk about stuff like what's meta or what's this, we need to always keep in mind that things will get changed, especially broken things. Broken things will absolutely end up getting changed. So, for example, we have windows, and now demons can vault windows. People are like, oh my god. Or cars are going to get a hit. I think this because this game is still in its early phase, relatively. We need to keep in mind that things are subject to change, and when things are a little too strong, and those things are most likely going to get changed. Same thing for puke cancel Henrietta, and just be prepared for the next meta a little bit. That's typically how I do it. I prepare for some of those changes. You can't prepare for everything, but there are some things that are predictable that can be checked out. And Evil Dead 1 Ash, I think I will stand for that guy. Evil Dead 1 Ash, I think, is someone that his value is not seen. It's something that is not necessarily felt, because people aren't keeping track of his buffs and some of the stuff that he does, because a lot of his stuff is actually in the background. A lot of his impact is not seen, and I don't know why this Ed is not healing. A lot of the stuff is not seen, but it adds up later or at the end, because it doesn't, unlike if it's not as active, it does not have a really strong effect per se, right? Because you can see, okay, it's active, but it brings fear down really fast, but you don't see like notably how much healing he does. You don't see notably how much damage he buffed the team, and that's something once again I believe that they should possibly add to the scoreboard, but I don't everything can't be on the scoreboard, but seeing someone's effective use, once again going back to perception and what equals what, is that you can't always point things out to players. Not everything can be on a scoreboard. A lot of it is up to the perception of the player. And
The lost pages.
once again, Scotty is not, doesn't have on paper a lot of things to offer, but Scotty does have some stuff to offer, but it just is not on paper, but it's more in the practical mechanics of the game. He offers more,
Just keep breathing.
and
Just keep breathing.
some of the benefits are not quite seen. I can't count on my hands,
Not much, but I have some light over here.
my hands, knees, and all the sperm cells in my scrotum, in my testicles, that how many times Evil Dead 1 Ash has tipped the game in the favor, or Annie has tipped the game in the favor. Once again, it does not pop up on the scoreboard, so it's not like, hey, this thing helped put something in the favor. It's like, no. It's more of do you understand the value is coming because it's not being called out by the scoreboard? Do you understand? Do you understand that the Annie is making things done really fast? So when you when you won the game by the pubic hair that's being dragged along your underwear, by pretty much almost nothing, when the book is about to be destroyed, with 1 second left, you do understand that Annie helped you win that game because of all the stuns, etc. If it wasn't for all those stuns, then that book would have been damaged. It's like, for example, if you have an ED1 Ash, and then even with the hunters wailing on the demon, if y'all win by especially by the skin of your teeth, it's the ED1 Ash that pushed, because that damage buff, right? It's and I'm leaving that slur in there. I'm fine with that. The damage buff is about 20%, so that means things are dying 20% quicker, which means something that will last 4 seconds is only lasting 3 seconds. So that's less damage for the book. So when looking at someone's value, you have to take the value out of the equation. So if I say, hey, if I won the game, if we won and by a hair, then I calculate it as, what if we took this person's power out? So if things are dying 20% faster, what if the demon had 20% more time? We would have lost. 20% of 2 minutes is 1 minute and 40 seconds. With 20% 20% removed, right? So we saved 20 seconds, if you think about it that way. So when it comes to that, it's like, okay, we won by, you know, a mere moments. I'm like, yeah, if there wasn't 20 seconds of the units dropping a lot quicker, right, because they're losing time, then
Your team now holds the Kandarian dagger.
we would have lost. And that's kind of how I view a lot of these things. Or it turns out, hey, you know what, they're guarding the body, and we were able to get the revive simply because the unit got killed off of guarding the body a lot sooner.
Prepare yourself to battle.
And that gave someone enough time to go for a save when there's not a Henry on the team. So there's a lot of these unseen values in Evil Dead. There's so much nuance in this game of what affects what. Like, as I brought up, you know, the anti-fear for Cheryl might not be her main selling point, but dropping fear over time, yes, it costs resources, but dropping fear over time helps mitigate possessions. But of course, once again, it requires a finite resource. But mitigating possessions is still a part of it. And once again, it's pretty good for, you know, hunters and whatnot. I hope you guys enjoy this calm conversation rant thing that I have going on. I'll try to have one each week. This is just something that I do on my chill time, just to go over what's in my brain. You guys be safe and have a good one.